Hello, I'm Cloaked Games. I wanted to give a brief explanation for how to use this game, tech demo, project, whatever it is, because we didn't really have time to program an in-game tutorial and it's kind of complicated, so I want to make sure the information is there in case anyone is struggling to figure out how to do it, because I don't blame you. So these are all the runes. There's 2 of each. You can drag them around with left click, and there's a few different types of runes here, and you kind of need all of them to make a solid spell. So let's start. Any spell is going to need one of these 3. You have target location, target self, and target nearest. You need a target rune, and that's usually going to be the first one. This basically tells the spell where to go and how to behave. Without it, it's going to go to a random spot and do whatever it is you told it to do, which might be what you want, but generally you'll want one of these targets. So I'm going to use target location for our example, and then you can drag the first rune in your spell to any of these 3 slots, and that will save it to be used in the testing mode as a spell. So now we have our target location, and now we need to connect it to another rune. Say if we have a fire burst, we can connect this, hold right click, drag to connect it. However, if you just tell it to go to target location and then do this, this is going to blow up in your face, because target location on its own just tells the spell where to go, and then immediately it's going to go to the next rune unless you tell it otherwise. So you actually need some kind of conditional. There's 3 here: at target, after delay, and at entity. When you use at target, you can experiment with what they do, but basically this then tells it to go towards a particular location, this rune says, and then don't do anything until it's reached that particular location. And then we can put our fire burst rune that just does fire damage. And if we test that now, you can press escape to enter testing mode. We have our player character here, WASD. We can spawn a wave with 0. Press 0 to spawn a wave. Here's all our slimes, and now we can press 1 to cast the spell in the first slot, and it tells us to select a location. And there we go. Now it's blowing up, doing our fireball damage as we expected. You can mess around with different different conditions, different target types, and you can combine them however you want. These runes all do different things. There's some compatible element types. I recommend experimenting if you want to make a really powerful spell. But these are all pretty self-explanatory, so I'll skip those for now. The final type of rune is a modifier rune. These ones do not perform a specific function, but they can be used and attached to other runes to make them more powerful. So let's say we add this burn here. This is a fire burst, and then burn. This is a regular spell. We want to modify that. Take our fire elemental modifier. We can connect it this direction to the fire burst, and that will increase its damage because it's a fire element type. There's other runes like the range modifier will increase the range of the burn effect, or the duration modifier will increase the duration it takes for the delay, or something that does damage over time, like the burn. And then we can say shape the projectile. We can use the speed modifier to make the projectile move faster, like that, etc. So the runes, the modifier runes, are on the outside, and then your main spell will go through that. So now we can check this spell. You can see it moves faster, and then the damage is more, etc. So I think that's all. I hope that explained all the mechanics that we needed, just briefly, so that if you are struggling with figuring it out in the game because there's not any explanation, then there is an explanation available.